Good morning. Welcome to the Senate Committee on Veterans, Emergency Management, Federal and World Affairs. Today is Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. And we have two items on the agenda for today. Both of them are HCRs. The first one, HCR10, followed by HCR11.
We'll do them in the other order, Mr. Chair.
We're going to flip them?
Yeah, since Senator Solon's here for 11.
Yes. Oh, she's here for 11. Okay, not in order.
Sorry about that, yes.
Okay. All right, so we will open up a public hearing on House Concurrent Resolution number 11. Mr. Brennan, can you give us an overview?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, House Concurrent Resolution 11 recognizes and honors the Indian community in Oregon and extends congratulations and support for ongoing celebrations of India's independence. The measure came out of the House on a 59-0 vote. There's no fiscal or revenue impact, Mr. Chair.
Okay, first up, we have Senator Janine Solomon. Welcome, Senator. Early in the morning. And for the record, if Representative Kenny Helms show, we'll do a pause to get him in. But in the meantime, please begin.
Perfect. Thank you. Top of the morning, Chair Manning and Vice Chair Thatcher and members of the committee. For the record, I'm Janine Solomon. I'm the state senator for Senate District 15, which includes areas of Forest Grove, Cornelius, Hillsborough, and the Rock Creek area of Washington County. Today, I come to you in a strong support of HCR 11 in honor of the Indian community in Senate District 15, which numbers over 5,000 people, making up 3.4% of the district. And last August marked the 75th anniversary of India's independence. And this year, on August 15th, we will celebrate their 76th year of independence by honoring and remembering their struggle. It is important to remember that one of the biggest contributions India has made to this world is how they obtained their independence. They embraced a movement of nonviolent civil disobedience, a movement that inspired civil rights leaders in the United States, such as Martin Luther King Jr. The Salt March was one example of a nonviolent response to Britain's Salt Act of 1882, a law that required the people of India to purchase the mineral from British merchants at a high rate. In response, Gandhi and his supporters walked 241 miles in just 24 days to Dandi, where they walked to the beaches and gathered salt as an act of protest. The world owes a debt of gratitude to India for showing us how to fight against oppression and bring about positive change through peaceful means. Despite being a new country, the people of India created their country around the values of democracy and freedom. It must have been an amazing day on August 15th, 1947, when India's long-sought goal of independence was won. India's first Prime Minister, Nehru, summed up the feelings of his countrymen when he said, and I quote, "A moment comes, which comes but rarely in history, when we step out from the old to the new, when an age ends, and when the soul of a nation, long suppressed, finds utterance." End quote. Colleagues, I urge your support of this important recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for the senator? Yes.
Just one. Who said that? I did catch the name.
Yes, it was Prime Minister Nehru.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll get you that information.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay. Further questions from the committee? Senator, thank you so much. This is extremely important history, the struggles, and I do recall seeing a lot of those with Gandhi, stood up, nonviolent, and persist. I seen him go through the process of fasting, where he kind of withered completely away, but he stood up for nonviolence, and it persevered. So thank you so much for bringing this forward. I see that Representative Helm is here. If you please like to join. Senator, Representative, welcome. And you can begin your presentation, your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Ken Helm, House District 27. Thank you for hearing this measure. It's the origin of HCR11 is a conversation that I had with a constituent and neighbor, Ramesh Krishnamurti, and he is a leader of in our Indian community in Washington County. And he came forward over coffee with a nice idea of, hey, we have a large population of folks of Indian cultural origin, and wouldn't it be nice to help celebrate the 75th anniversary of democracy in India, and the shared cultural values that we have around that. And of course, we know that many of our neighbors that have come from India arrived to participate in the high-tech industry in Washington County. And they work at our high-tech firms and other places as well. Their children are in our schools and contribute very highly to the culture of our high schools and other schools, and the learning environment. And so that's where this began. That's what I wanted to let you all know. The measure was well received on the House side. And I don't know if Mr. Krishnamurti is with us. My understanding is he is visiting family in India. My information might be a little stale, but I think he's in a different time zone. So I'll stop talking and let you get to him. And thanks again for hearing this measure.
Thank you. Different time zone, Mr. Krishnamurti. Forgive me if I mispronounce your name. You can correct me right now as you begin your testimony.
Certainly, Senator. The way you pronounced it is absolutely okay. We say that there isn't a perfect pronunciation for most of our names anyway. So we go by whatever name we are recognized by. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So please, your testimony.
Certainly, very happy to. Respected Senate Chair, Senator James Manning Jr., Vice Chair, Senator Kim Thatcher, Senator Chris Gorsuch, Senator Dennis Linthicum, Senator Aaron Woods. Namaste. Thank you for giving me this chance to speak to you, even though I'm half a world away, but it's still early in the night. So let me start my testimony. My name is Ramesh Krishnamurti, and I've been a resident of Beaverton for over 30 years. I'm an engineer by training, now retired. I was employed by Intel Corporation in Hillsborough for over 25 years. My spouse is also an alumnus of Portland State University with a business degree and was also employed by Intel, and she is also now retired. We have 2 children. Both are graduates of the local K-12 school system and went on to graduate from college with engineering degrees and are now gainfully employed. I speak in support of this bill that is recognizing and appreciating the Indian independence and the connection of India to this great state of Oregon. It's a matter of pride that our 2 nations are among the largest democracies in the world today, and in different ways have so much in common to share, celebrate, and rejoice, and at the same time cherish the different histories, heritage, culture, traditions, and values. Earliest anecdotal settling of people of Indian origin in Oregon dates back to the 1870s and 1890s, when along with an influx of railroad workers from the north, some came to eastern Washington state and over years moved south to Oregon. Lately, in the 1960s, Indians were a part of a significant number of medical professionals who were moved and settled in Oregon. Since then, several technology industries that were set up and were growing in Oregon, like HP in Corvallis, Intel in Hillsborough, Tektronix in Beaverton, PGE in Portland, hired a lot of engineering graduates to their facilities here. The earliest of them were in the late 1970s, with surges towards the early 1980s, forming the core of the Indian community here. The year 2000 brought a large number of IT professionals that saw a big spike in the Indian population all across Oregon. Professionals in various fields such as medicine, nursing, finance, education has been steadily increasing in numbers and continue to grow in numbers even today. From the US 2020 census data available about the Indian population in Oregon, there appears to be over 80,000 people of Indian origin in Oregon. Many Indian families here in Oregon have now had at least 2 generations of children that were born, brought up, educated, and are now employed in Oregon. Nationally, it has been recognized that in most states, Indians form one of the communities that has a high rate of completing college education, employment in a broad range of professional disciplines, tend to be model citizens, constructively contribute to the local economy and society, and integrate well into the local community in all walks of life, while at the same time retaining and cherishing their Indian culture and heritage. This is no different in Oregon. Indians employed in the tech industries in Oregon have held senior positions. In the medical care, they are established specialists, and entrepreneurs have started small businesses, generated jobs locally, and have typically been model employers. A quick look at the institutions of higher education in Oregon, including that of University of Oregon, Oregon State University, Portland State University, University of Portland, and the community college systems, show that there are eminent faculty in most engineering and science departments. This is in addition to teachers who now teach in grade school, from elementary to high school, all over the metros in Oregon. There may not be any city or township in Oregon that does not have an Indian eatery. Most in the metropolitan areas have not only brought the Indian cuisine to Oregonians, they also have made themselves a place to go anytime there is a choice to celebrate. The Indian community is also represented in civic bodies and local government well, giving back to the community that gave them so much. We have Sunita Garg, who was elected to the Beaverton School District Board this year. And we have commissioners in the West Slope Water District and the Raleigh Hills Water District, Tiger City Planning Commissions, Clean Water Services Advisory Commission, to name a few. The Indian community has also established centers for education, dissemination, and creating awareness in the Indian culture, arts, heritage, and religion. Organizations bring Indian performing arts through a variety of visiting artists and troupes to almost all major cities in Oregon. They also cater to students of music and dance, arts, with schools and institutions that serve not just children of Indian descent, but others as well. In summary, not only has the Indian population settled in Oregon, they have been an exemplary community, contributing and caring for their neighbors at all levels, local, city, and state. I'm so grateful for your time. I want to place on record my appreciation for your consideration of the concurrent resolution 11. My sincere thanks to Representative Ken Helm, who took the initiative to introduce this HCR in the House, and to Senators Kate Lieber and Elizabeth Steiner, who co-sponsored at the Senate, Representatives Dexter, Graber, Reynolds, Chaichi, Nairon, Pamke, and Senators Solomon, Campos, and Yama, who supported the resolution when introduced. I'm also thankful to all the representatives who voted unanimously to pass this on the House floor on January 31st. Thank you so much. If there are questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Sir, thank you very much. I think right now we'll move on to Mr. Kadambi. Again, sir, if I have mispronounced your name, now's the time that you can get it correct on the record.
Thank you. Am I coming through?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to present the testimony. My name is Sudarshan Bala Kadambi, and I'd like to speak in two contexts. Like Ramesh, I am halfway across the world in southern India right now, and it's 8:30, almost 9 o'clock in the evening. We bridge across time zones, cultures, and I'd like to present my testimony in two parts. The first, in terms of my experience as a citizen of the United States and a resident of Washington County over 40 years. And following which, I'd like to say a few words about the heritage of the culture of the country that I'm representing from my birth. So as I mentioned, I've been in Washington County for 4 decades, trained as a computer engineer. I retired from Intel after 34 years in various capacities of system design and management responsibilities, growing with the company and growing with the county. Among memorable roles was co-inventor of the Universal Serial Bus, or the USB interface, a contribution that has brought meaning to the computing industry being accessible in a worldwide adoption. Today, I am a precinct committee person in my 3rd elected term. I serve on the board of 2 nonprofits after retiring from Intel. The first is the Social Venture Partners, an advocacy forum for public resourcing of early childhood development along with equity, as well as on the board of the ecochallenge.org, which is focused on education of ownership for environmental responsibility. I founded, while at Intel, their green team, employee green team, that has been a representative of the community in various roles, as well as a participant at the Thanksgiving Interfaith Forum in Washington County. The reason I bring this up is to emphasize that I'm deeply vested in Oregon, which I consider home and have raised a family in. And the reason also why I am in India now is to support my mother as part of the cultural tradition, and she is 94. We go back and forth across the 2 continents. So, as I wear the rich culture of my birth in India, I'm very proud to represent that inheritance as part of my self in my adopted country of the United States. As Ramesh mentioned, and as Senator Solomon said, since gaining independence from colonial eras, that was 75 years ago, India has risen on the global stage as a participative and fully functional democracy over 3 generations. Today, it has the largest population in the world. Roughly 1 out of 6 people in the world claim to be of Indian heritage. And with as many languages, not dialects, languages, as all of Europe put together. And clearly, this presents a huge challenge in terms of integration, in terms of services, in terms of all the opportunities of diversity of a vast country. India has maintained through this period, us as a democracy, a steady economic growth, funded largely through agriculture initially and then through urban development, and now on the world digital stage as well. And with a growth rate of 6 to 8%, and world-class institutions in banking, trade, legal systems, and so on, it's a fully functional world organization with presence across multiple areas of relevance. Culture, of course, goes deep into the roots of India, a millennium years or more, and these are valued and adopted across the world, from the arts and cuisine to healthcare and fashion. The Indian diaspora in the United States continue to bridge many of these historic traditions among our diverse Oregon communities, even as we engage with our professional skills and talent in practically every aspect of economic, education, and social sector. Spanning the United States, the Indian diaspora is roughly about 5 million, equivalent, one might say, to the population of Oregon. And within Oregon itself, Washington County is the core of our presence, largely because of the high-tech presence. I'm honored today to represent this opportunity to recognize the bridging across two vast democracies, two vast cultures that celebrates the 75th year of India's democracy, and thank the Oregon Legislature in proposing to recognize the contributions of Oregon's Indian community and joining in the celebration of India's path to being present in the world stage, being a bridge across cultures, and contributing at so many levels, even here in Oregon and Washington County. Thank you very much.
Thank you both. Questions from the committee? I want to thank you for, the time zone difference. I understand that. And if you recently traveled, you're probably dealing with a little bit of jet lag as well. So I understand that as well. So we want to thank you again, or I want to thank you again for making the time to do your presentation here. Give us some knowledge about the rich cultural history that has assimilated positive here in the state of Oregon, and not only Oregon, but the U.S. as a whole. Looking forward to your return, and hope to meet you again sometime in person. And with that, I am going to close the. Do we have anybody else before signed up or showing up for House Concurrent Resolution 11?
Just briefly,
Yes.
I have the smartest, nicest, gentlest person working in my office, and her name is Tanvir Sandhu, and I love her, and she is of Indian heritage as well. So she lives in my district, and I am honored to know her.
Well, there you have it. You're also in the Oregon State Senate. So we do appreciate that. And with that, thank you again. With that, I am closing the public hearing on House Concurrent Resolution 11.